Hey everyone, welcome to our Vendoo webinar. Oh my goodness, so many people joining. Welcome to Reselling Reinvented. We'll give people just one moment to join us and then we will officially get started. Hey guys, thanks for joining. Welcome.
Hey everyone.
So welcome to Reselling Reinvented. This is part of our Vendoo webinar series about how AI and Vendoo are changing the game. I'm Erynn. I'm a product specialist here at Vendoo, and I'm hosting today with our guest of honor. And I'm going to hand it right over to her, Deanna.
Hi everyone, my name is Deanna. I am the social media manager here at Vendoo, and I'm also a reseller. I'm a multi-platform reseller and have been for, I always get this wrong, but I think like 6 years.
And it's so nice to see everyone joining. Hello again, everyone. This is going to be a really good one. We host webinars here and workshops here at Vendoo all the time. So make sure you stay tuned. We're always hosting these fun events to teach you more about how to I tried to say scale and grow at the same time. How to scale and grow your resale business. The objective of today's webinar is to demonstrate how to use AI tools and Vendoo to enhance your descriptions and leverage your reselling business. And a quick agenda. Today, we're going to introduce AI and talk about what it is. We'll demonstrate tools in the reseller context listing. We'll give you a preview of some Vendoo AI tools coming very soon to enhance your listings. And we'll do a live Q&A. And with that, let me start with a poll. So you'll see a poll pop up at the bottom of your screen. And this is about your familiarity with AI. So we'd love to see if you've used AI, if you know anything about AI. So let us know what you think. And I'll pass it right over to Deanna. Deanna, tell us more about what AI is. So I know we know it's artificial intelligence, but if that's all I know, start from the very beginning of how to introduce this concept.
Sure, awesome. Is the chat enabled too?
Oh, let me enable that. So sorry about that. By default, it is not.
I could tell since there wasn't any chats.
Yep.
You can put your questions in the chat or in the question box at the bottom, and we're going to go through those at the end mostly. Okay, so I mean, by now AI has been around long enough that everyone knows that it stands for artificial intelligence, but it's a bit of a concept that sometimes people don't actually know what that means. When you say it, it sounds very sci-fi and almost a little sinister sounding, but it's actually really simple. And it's basically machine-based learning and taking computer science concepts and lots of data and bringing those together to actually make meaningful things. And it's actually been around since the 1940s, which I found surprising. I actually researched that little fact just for this webinar, just to see how long it had been around. And it officially became a field of study in the 1950s, but it mostly goes on behind the scenes. It mostly goes on to, in computer science, and everyone else doesn't really use it that often. But because of some recent developments like ChatGPT, which we're going to be talking about a little bit later, it's seeping more and more into our daily lives. And you'll be surprised at how many things use it when we start to talk about that. In fact, one of the areas that it's really popular in right now is marketing. So on the marketing team in Vendoo, we've been talking about AI and ChatGPT and what it can do for us and how it can speed things up for us for a long time now. And it's kind of how this webinar topic came about. So you mostly will see AI that you've been using it for quite a long time, because anytime you use Google, YouTube, TikTok, eBay, and Poshmark, you're using it because AI machine learning powers search engines and algorithms that run it. And you'll notice that your Google results are super freaky accurate and specific to you, as long as you're using your own computer or your phone or you're logged in to Chrome. As soon as you're not, it gets a little bit less accurate because it doesn't know who you are. So the more you use it, the more it learns about you and the more accurate it gets. Same thing with TikTok. You're scrolling TikTok, and the more you scroll, based on how many seconds of each video you watch, it learns what you like, and it gives you fairly accurate suggestions on what you should watch next.
Deanna, is it fair to say that AI is what we think is like our phone listening to us when the ads and everything popping up seem so appropriately tailored to like exactly what we're thinking?
Yes, that, you know, that and combined with just things that you search for, things that you find interesting, ads that you click on, things you type in to different search engines and things like that. And then it seems like your advertising is scary accurate, and like you're suddenly seeing ads for everything you've ever wanted. It seems like you could just think, man, I really want a chocolate bar right now. And all of a sudden you're seeing ads for the chocolate bar. So
You know, one just posted on my phone, chocolate bar right now.
yeah.
If you're anything like me, you did not know too much about AI, but I learned a lot in preparation for this too from Deanna. So I'm really excited for Deanna to show us how we can use this amazing and kind of scary, but in a good way, technology. So Deanna, what kind of tools are available right now in our context, in the reseller e-commerce context for AI?
So some things that were a lot of people already use, I know I use it like multiple times a day, every single day, is Photo Room, because we like to remove the background from our photo images and get that clean white background, or maybe a different type of background for depop. Photo Room uses AI technology to detect the exact subject of your photo and delete, you know, everything in the background. Then its newer tools will then take your item. If you want to, you can go into Magic Studio and put it on different backgrounds. I've made some really cute ones for Depop with like a graffiti background, or make it look like it's on a hanger, but in like a cafe or like something like that. And there's some other tools like Canva. Canva launched some AI image creator tools if you use the Canva Pro account, and you can pretty much tell it to create any kind of background you want. And it will create a digital version of that, which you can then put your products on top of, which is really cool.
That is so cool. If you've been using Photo Room for a long time, you can actually see how the technology has evolved too. Because I feel like 3 years ago, if you were to have photographed a picture of, we'll say, some cut off shorts, those little tassels and pulls might not have, you know, traced very well. Like they would have been, you know, packed, patchy and a little pixelated. But now the technology in all of these background removers is phenomenally accurate, even with the details. So the technology is evolving too.
Yeah, and if you have been at all interested or in any field that deals with graphics, then you know removing a subject from the background used to be a super complex thing that you could do with an expensive tool like Photoshop, and it would take you hours to do all these little processes, and you would just get like an image that kind of looked like it had been cut with scissors by a little kid. It had little white lines everywhere. And now the fact that I can put now like 20 photos into a batch and press one button and they all cut out almost perfectly every time is very crazy. Then we are also seeing, this is kind of the new wave that's so popular right now, and that's language models like ChatGPT. And this is where you can talk back and forth with it, kind of like you're talking to like your, I don't want to say her name because everyone's device will go off, but your Amazon device assistant, you know, kind of like how you talk to her, you can talk to ChatGPT in the same way. And using that technology, we've already seen at least one, there's probably more apps that will help you write descriptions for products and things like that. The one we'll talk about today is ChatGPT, just because it's free and it's available to everybody. You'll also see it I just received access to this yesterday through Google Labs. If you signed up for their beta program, you can get access to a ChatGPT like feature right inside your Gmail. So I had it write an email to my husband yesterday suggesting that we go on a date night, and he thought it was hilarious. But you can ask it, you know, write an email to my boss asking for time off in February, and it will help you write your emails.
So I hadn't seen ChatGPT until preparation for this webinar, when I kind of just wanted to learn a little bit about it before I show it to hundreds of people. And I had some misconceptions. I thought it wasn't going to be as amazing as I am at writing descriptions with my years of experience in SEO research. But who am I kidding? Like, this is literally a technology that uses so many different things: search engines, databases, research. It is incredibly impressive. And I'm super excited to show you guys that, because this is revolutionary and we're going to see it more and more. So learning how to maximize it will definitely be to all of our benefits.
Yep. So ChatGPT, especially, it was made by OpenAI, which is a group that just specializes in building this type of technology. A lot of the apps, I think, I looked up the stat and I forgot to write it down, but a staggering amount of apps and extensions and things have been built using this already. There's new ones every day, probably hundreds of new ones every day. So you might have seen something similar to this under different names. There's one called Copy AI, which is focused for copywriters, and there's one called MagiScript, which is like focused on writing e-commerce descriptions. So there's all these different ones. There's lots and lots and lots of them. So we'll talk about Chat GPT and some of the drawbacks, of it too, some warning signs, and also just how to use it. I'm going to bring it up on the screen.
Quick question: where was this when we were in school writing book reports? I was wondering.
Well, and also what's really kind of interesting is that, so yeah, obviously kids have already figured out that they can try to use this for school, right? Not just kids, but let me see if is it sharing the ChatGPT screen now?
No, it's sharing your Zoom screen.
Let me fix that. So they've already, tried to figure out how to use it for homework. And then, so therefore, there's also ways for teachers to learn how to detect whether or not you're using it. How likely is it that this paper that was written by AI? So you've got AI for doing homework, and you've got AI for detecting when students have used AI for homework.
Deanna, could you maximize your screen just to make that a little bit larger for us?
Yep.
And this is ChatGPT, right? So how do we access this? What website do we go to?
Okay, hopefully that's a little bit better. So you're actually going to go to chat.openai.com. You can open it'll ask you to make an account, but it's just pretty much, a username and a password. There is a ChatGPT Plus, so you can get, it's supposed to be faster and let you use newer models and things like that. But I have used the free version with no problems and no limitations so far.
So you think for our purposes, the free version's more than enough?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I can't believe that this technology is free. All right, so show us. So how
and
we use ChatGPT or GPT?
Yep. So yeah, basically it's like we're having a really smart assistant who can help you research fashion trends, write product descriptions, come up with better titles. And it does this by using lots and lots of data and information that it's learned from other websites, sources, and from things that you teach it. It's really simple to use. You're going to use commands. The longer you use it, the better you will get at writing the commands. And we're going to give you plenty of tips to get started. Before I type a single word in here, though, I want to give a couple of warnings or disclaimers to help you use it correctly and stay safe. Okay. The one thing is, so it's learning. It's constantly learning and evolving. One thing that ChatGPT specifically has is they didn't give it access to real-time things being posted on the internet. So it's approximately a year behind in what it's already learned. Now you can teach it new stuff. So a blog article that Vendoo just wrote yesterday, I can give it the link to that and it will read it. And now it knows all that information, but it won't have already done it. Okay. And there's various legal and ethical reasons why they didn't want it to be able to access real-time data and what it could and couldn't be used for. And they're still sorting all that out. So for right now, it is like, a few months behind. So if you want it to know super current events, you need to tell it, you need to teach it. And one thing that a lot of people don't realize, and you really need to know before you type anything in here, is that nothing in here is private. Okay. This is open source technology. It's public information. Everything you type in there, other people can see it. There's different extensions you can get to see what other people are using ChatGPT for, and you can see everything that they've typed in. So, and everything it learns from you, it uses. It teaches it and it knows it forever. So you don't want to type your bank account information in there. Okay.
That's important. I just want
important to know.
because if you are like me, when you got, the phone with Siri or your Amazon device, you might have sat there and asked it foolish or inappropriate questions just because you were curious. Don't do that with this. So that's our first disclaimer.
Right. And then this one is not so much of a scary warning as the last one, but it is fairly generic. People are worried that it will take over, so many of our jobs forever. And I don't think that's going to happen, just because human beings have this natural creative energy and, and are able to say things in more unique ways than a machine can, at least for now. And at least until you can teach the machine how exactly you want to talk or how you want it to say things, right? So a lot of what you'll see will be either super generic, or it'll be super wordy and you need to edit it down. Because as you know, it's going to give you 3 paragraphs for a description, and we all know buyers don't read. So, we're gonna tweak that and make it a little bit different. Okay, so when you open ChatGPT, you're just going to see this very basic screen. There's not much to it. Let me move this over. All right, let me know if anything looks weird. I can't see it for some reason.
It's looking good.
Okay. So at the very bottom is a message box, and this is where you're going to type your prompts in. Every time you start a new chat, everything you say in that chat is going to be specific, sort of like creating a category. And you'll see them pop up on the left. So, and you can rename these because you're going to want to go back to it. You can teach it things over time. So just to give you an example of what I'm talking about, I'm going to start with something that's not even reseller related, but just something cool it can do. Okay. You can have it create, let's say you're on a diet and you want to have it create a meal plan for you. I started out by asking it to make a 3-day low carb for weight loss meal plan, told it foods I do and don't like, and asked it to create a meal plan for me. So the first thing it does is it creates it. It writes it all down. Here's day 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to say, thanks. Now I need a grocery list. And it's going to make a grocery list of everything that was in there.
Amazing. Amazing.
Then I'm going to want it to get more specific. And I'm going to say, based on the previous information we've already talked about, suggest a 1-day meal plan that includes recipes for the dinner, because let's say I'm going to have someone over and I want to make, a recipe. So then it gives me a whole new day. And when it gets down to the dinner part, it has ingredients, instructions, and has everything you need to do. If I'm going to ask this last question that I just asked about the new meal plan, I of course want to go to the same chat so that it already knows all the stuff I taught it. And I don't have to teach it again. I don't have to tell it again. So now every time I'm using the same diet and I want meal plan advice or recipes or snack ideas or anything like that, I'm going to go back to this chat.
Insanity. I still am mind blown by this. I could play with this for hours.
Another thing that I previously taught it before we got started here was about my Instagram account. So this is about my personal Instagram account. I told it that my Instagram audience is women between the ages of 28 through 45 approximately, who are interested in reselling fashion. I described a little bit about what that was, told it words like eBay and Poshmark and things like that. And this is important. You can ask ChatGPT if it understands. So it's not necessarily going to tell you if it doesn't understand, but if you ask it if it does, it will say that it understands, or it will say it doesn't, and you can provide more information.
That's like talking to my 8-year-old.
Yeah, it's like talking to anyone that you're trying to teach, right? So it told me that it understands. So I told it I want to teach my audience about selling vintage clothing. Can you come up with a list of topics? So it's going to come up with topics. So this is how you can maybe use your, reseller Instagram, use it for your reseller Instagram account. After it gave me 10 just generic topics, I can tell it, I'm interested in the topic you suggested, how to negotiate with potential buyers and close sales successfully. Can you give me 5 tips for negotiating with a buyer on eBay? So this is what it came up with. Be responsive and friendly, know your bottom line, and it has, a little bit of detail for each one. So I can go through those and I can decide if I think that those are things my audience thinks are valuable. Do I want to include that in my post or not? And, if I want to word it any differently.
Everyone in this webinar is going to be up tonight making their new social media plans for their reselling accounts with ChatGPT.
You can have it create, a posting schedule, what I should post, ideas. One thing I use it for Vendoo is to help me create Twitter threads out of long blog posts. I'll tell it, I'll just drop a link to a long blog post and ask it to break it down into 5 or 6 messages. And I'll specifically tell it Twitter thread, and it knows exactly what I'm talking about. And then I just copy and paste, each one of those over to Twitter. And you can even tell it to add emojis. It'll do that for you too.
Wow.
So we'll move on to creating an actual, a brand new chat. So I'm going to click on new chat up at the top. And let's see. I'm going to start out with a really simple one. The first thing I like to do is I like to tell it a little bit about what it's doing. I already wrote this in advance, so I'm going to tell it that I want it to create youthful, modern product descriptions of clothing, and that the descriptions should include style keywords that will rank well on Google. Okay, so I'm going to tell it that first. And let's say I'm selling a newer product and, it's giving me examples. All right, thank you. You can
These examples are pretty impressive though. This is insane.
And this is just without it, these are just random examples it's coming up with. And then I could, see those examples and tell it if I don't think it's in the right direction. So now I'm going to ask to write a product description for this item. Okay, and I'm going to put a link to it. So assuming that you've gone on and you found your item, you could drop the link to the item. And in this case, it is a Nike bag, and it's going to write its own description. And this was nice because on the Nike website, there isn't a description. It's pretty much like one sentence.
Could you put that link in another window real quick, Deanna, just to show us the picture? And so then we can see the bag that this description is being created for.
Okay.
I love this bag. Yeah. It's very cute.
So here's the bag. Yes, it's really cute. And then here's your description. The Nike Heritage Crossbody Bag 4L, perfect blend of style, functionality and athletic elegance. This modern crossbody bag is designed to keep your essentials organized and adding a touch of sporty flair to your outfit. It goes on and on. Now, this is what I was talking about. Obviously, you don't want to put all of this into your description, but what it can do is if you're at a loss for words of the object you're trying to describe, it gives you so much that you can work with. You can decide which sentences you want to include, what you don't want to include, and it also gives you ideas like I might have not thought to talk about the functionality of the item. I might not have thought to put that an adjustable strap gives you a comfortable fit. I might not have thought that, and this will give me those ideas.
Its compact yet spacious design offers ample storage for everyday essentials. Like that sentence, I feel like a skilled marketer created. You're entirely right. While this isn't a copy and paste job, this is a great place to start.
Right. And everybody's at different levels. Some people can take, a handbag and automatically think of like 50 keywords and how to describe it. And they're going to look at this and think, well, that's just extra work. I don't need to do that. But there are plenty of us who do not have that ability. And we look at a handbag and we're like, black purse.
With
Yellow
straps.
purse. Yellow crossbody. So
Yeah.
so this can really help you. I wanted to give another example. Let's say you do not have a product landing page, and instead you just have a photo. Now, this photo is one I found online, but you can just use a photo off like your camera, like something that's uploaded online though. So maybe maybe somebody else's Poshmark listing. You found a listing, you found the photo. So that's my photo.
Can we see it once more just for a second?
Yes.
I think once we see it, we can really appreciate this description. All right,
So
there we go.
I'm going to ask it to give me the product description for the red shirt. And I picked a whole outfit just because I want you to see that you can choose a piece of the, one item out of the photo. You could also use a picture of like just the flannel shirt hanging on a hanger, right?
That's so impressive because if you were to Google Lens that image, you'd pretty much just get girls with long hair and red. It wouldn't be able to pinpoint whether it was the shirt, the hat, the shoes, the look, the background,
Right.
So let's see what it generates for this.
Okay, let me get my link again. Okay, so I'm reminding it that I wanted to create youthful modern product descriptions and write a product description based on the red and gray flannel shirt in this photo and drop in my link.
I'm going to go off script a little bit, Deanna, and take a question. Someone asked if you could limit the words or characters. Could you do that right now? A description with no more than what's Poshmark, 1,200 characters?
Yep, we can go back and do the Nike one with that example in just a minute.
Introducing our red and gray flannel shirt, the ultimate wardrobe essential for the modern, style-conscious individual. Crafted with meticulous attention to detail, the shirt seamlessly combines classic charm with contemporary flair, making it a must-have. Made of high-quality, soft flannel fabric, durability. Wow, these keywords, though. It has occasion, it has quality, it has colors, it has feature. It also has a lot of extras. So like you said, it's a starting point that we're kind of going to sift through. But it really does have the core skeleton, a really advanced one of a really good SEO rich product description.
And a lot of great like aesthetics and cores and all that stuff. A lot of that great information is pretty timely, like it's pretty current events, but you can obviously teach it what you want it to know. So the styles that you sell a lot of, you can show it a lot of pictures, you can give it a lot of style words and keep a chat going for that style. And it can include a lot of those words in your description. So if I wanted to tell it a lot about grunge style and remind it to do so, it could put it into this description that it's building for me.
Absolutely amazing.
I want to do the Nike one again for you guys.
Someone asked if we can see how you teach it. So when you just said, for example, if you want to teach them about Barbiecore, could we see how you would teach it that? Because I don't think Barbiecore necessarily existed in 2021. So it probably doesn't have that, depop hashtag just yet.
Right. Okay, so going back to the first question, can you make it shorter? Write a product description for this crossbody bag. Now we're going to add some additional information to our prompts. You can make them really specific. So this description should be no longer than
1,200 characters would be Poshmark. Or I might be wrong. It might be 1,000. Either way.
Okay.
Use lists and emojis. Wow. How is this instant? Please let me know in the chat if your mind is blown as much as I am by this.
How fast it is. And actually, when I first started using this a couple of months ago, it would stop and think a little bit longer, and it seems to be getting faster. I don't know if the more you use it, it gets faster, or it's the more everybody uses it, it's just getting faster in general.
This is looking quite a bit like a description.
Yeah. And obviously, like I said, it starts out more generic. The more you teach it, the more accurate it's going to get. You can also, I had to write some of these in advance just so you don't have to see me struggle to type a really long paragraph. So you can also tell it things like, when you generate descriptions, make sure to include the following information: the title, the category, the brand, the color, the size, the condition. So now it's telling me, okay, it's telling me, yes, I understand. Provide me with those details and I can write you a description.
Wow.
So what you can do is create a template for yourself, title, description, whatever, that you can copy and paste into ChatGPT and then fill out just those fields, and it will generate that for you.
So cool. This is a reseller's game changer.
So every time I wanted to do it, I can say, put in my template, and it'll start making the description.
This is already a better listing than like 85% of what I see on Poshmark.
Right.
Really. And I don't mean the audience here, your resellers, your descriptions are wonderful, but the brand new reseller or the non-reseller that's just selling things, like, this is seriously amazing. We have trending hashtags, we have a full description. It's SEO maximized because we're using machine technology that can consume SEO and learn about it. It's amazing. And it's free. I still can't get over this.
Right.
Everyone in the comments is with me. I'm not the only one dramatically enthusiastic.
I'm gonna start a brand new one, and okay, let's teach it about a new. Now we're doing this live. I haven't tested this, so
I know I put Deanna on the spot for this one. We generally prepare, but this is real AI here. We'd like to teach it about Barbiecore. If you don't know what Barbiecore is, check it out. Maybe someone in Team Vendoo could put a link to our course and aesthetics blog. It's very much trending right now, especially with the upcoming Barbie movie. But it's exactly that. What a Mattel Barbie doll would wear. Think pinks, think florals, think youthful. And we're back on the article itself, Deanna. I'm sorry, we're back in your Google.
Yep, I'm finding the second one.
Oh, got it. Oh, so you're going to give it more than one article so it can learn even more. Color palette, silhouettes and cups, accessories.
Yeah, so it's automatically summarizing things out of that first article, just because it wants me to know that it understands. I didn't ask it to do that. It's just doing it. It's like, thank you for providing more information.
It's so polite too. I noticed in your conversations, you're very polite to the robot as well. So kindness matters. We love to see it.
I'm just going to save an image real quick.
Thank you to whoever asked this question, because this is a very valuable demo. Again, our course and aesthetics blog that we have here is something that we could use to teach ChatGPT about many of the trending course and aesthetics, so that it can learn that to help us with even the modern and very new depop TikTok style trends. Someone had asked before, can you just upload a picture? You do need a link to the picture. Is that correct, Deanna?
Right.
So whether you're publishing that somewhere on a photo hoster, if you publish it quickly with a more basic description on a reselling marketplace, or you find something similar or it online, either way, it does not have a drag and drop photo capability. It requires a link to the image. And this is a live test of
Yes.
just
So
teaching.
here's a lot. So now that I fed it those two articles, I'm going to ask it to write again a modern useful product description for the dress in this photo and talk about the Barbie core fashion in the description. So we're going to see what happens because I haven't done this before. So we're just going to see what it puts out. So yeah, you do need a link to the photo. So the photo has to be online somewhere.
Oh, wow, it learned. Flirty A-line silhouette, pastel color palette, femininity and playfulness, bold polka dot, retro glamour. Yeah, it definitely learned what Barbie core was real quick.
Except now this dress does not have polka dots. So
oh, interesting.
most likely it doesn't have enough information about that dress. So if I went back to my little template that I made before and told it the brand and the color and the style and all that, it would help it write a more accurate description. Sometimes I have noticed too, when you're giving it either a blog link or a photo link, sometimes it gets more information than you wanted it to. And that might have to do with how the blog is storing the photos, because it seems to pull some information from other photos that are in the same blog, but isn't the one it told you to look at. So it's almost like it's too general or it's looking at too many things. So you just have to play with it a little bit and figure out exactly how you have to write your prompt to get the information that you need. And of course, always double check what it spits out and edit it.
This is absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, Deanna, for showing this to us. And we're going to take some more questions at the end. The chat has so many, so I will encourage anyone with questions for Deanna to put those not in the chat, but in the Q&A right at the bottom of the screen. Q&A is a really great Zoom feature. It literally pops up individual questions for Zoom hosts so that we can look at them and address them one by one and get to each one. So at the end during questions, that is where we will pull from the Q&A. And in the meantime, we would love to show you some new ways that Vendoo is going to be using and implementing AI to make your reselling life even easier and allow you to list faster than ever.
So, do we want to do, I think we have a poll. Do we have a poll about?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Before we
this will just see if you guys know like how we're already using it, because we are already using it in the background.
So this poll is live now, and these are some various ways that Vendoo might be using AI. We'd like to hear what you think and what you know about AI so far. It looks like everyone knows how category mapping works with AI, but we have votes across the board for everything. Nice. Look at these votes. Smart audience. And let's launch that and show them some new ways coming soon.
So, yeah, we absolutely are using it for category mapping. And that was the most voted for poll result. But yeah, category mapping. So the category obviously is a little bit different per platform to platform. And so Vendoo uses that AI technology to try to match up the category when it can. And we can use that in more and more fields in the future, which will be great because it will reduce the number of blank fields you have to fill in for each marketplace. So that's a really great use. Now, we actually have some people on our development team that are specializing in AI because we're going to be building more and more features. We have a couple, one that we can actually show you a quick little video about. of something that we're working on right now.
Let's see it.
Here we go. This is a feature that we're just giving you a sneak peek of behind the scenes. So you actually won't see any of this, but we are going to be using AI to recognize what photos you're putting in, and it will help select an appropriate category, or rather it will suggest to you appropriate categories, and you'll be able to confirm if it's the correct category or not. So for this test, we're just going to upload a picture of a dress. There's my dress. It has all the categories are kind of in the side here, and you'll see it's 84% sure that it's this, which is clothing, shoes and accessories, women's clothing, dress. So the title's a little long, so it got cut off there. But so it is going to fill in what it would do for you actually is just say, hey, is this a women's dress? And you would say yes. And it would do all the clicks that it would take that you would normally have to click on clothing, shoes and accessories, and then women's clothing, and then dress, and so on. Instead of having to make all those clicks, it will just suggest to you what the category is, and you will say yes.
And sorry.
So I should say it's just about saving time. All of that happens in the background. You actually don't do anything but upload your photos as normal, and it's going to do all that in the background. And we aren't exactly sure what it will look like yet, but it will most likely just ask you to confirm what the category is instead of you having to make all those clicks.
And it won't stop there with category either. There are a ton of other fields right in the Vendoo form, like color, for example, that our goal is to implement AI to scan your image and read, have you confirm and plug into that form to save you clicks, because clicks matter, because clicks take time and time is money.
And the other feature we were told we're allowed to briefly mention is that we are also working on our own photo background remover as well. So look for that in the future. We don't have an ETA, but everyone who's on this webinar now knows our secret.
That is the most highly requested, or amongst the most highly requested features. So we're super excited to see how we can implement that for our users as well. So AI won't just help us with our descriptions or our carb reducing recipes. It will also help Vendoo and allow you to list even faster and more. We're going to launch one more poll here just to see how much you are interested in, or you use AI for your titles and descriptions. And then we're going to do a Q&A in these last 15 minutes. So if you have any questions about Vendoo, Vendoo's AI tools, ChatGPT, or anything that we've covered, please pop those right in the Q&A box and we'll take some from there. Someone asked if this will be recorded. Yes. Make sure you join our Facebook group, Team Vendoo. If we could get a link to the Facebook group in the chat, please. We post there. We also post weekly product updates. So that's where you'll see the news about all of these fun features when they launch. Someone asked, Deanna, if we have a lot of AI settings turned off on our phones for privacy, does it affect AI technology for marketing when you're using reselling sites? So I think what she's saying is if I've, told the iPhone, like my security, turn it off, does it affect the way I'm getting marketed on places like Poshmark?
Yeah, that's exactly what those things are designed to do. So Facebook is probably a great example of a company that has always used your data in an AI related, like algorithmic fashion to figure out who you are and what you want so it can serve you up the best ads. Now, I mean, obviously the intention is to show the right people the right ads. You're not annoying people with ads they don't want to see, and you're showing it to the right people who might actually purchase it, so that makes the ads more valuable. It's not very sinister. However, there can be other uses behind the scenes, the data that can be being sold for other purposes and things like that, and other reasons why people might decide they don't want to be included in that. They don't want them to use data about them to help them figure out ads, because they could then use it for other purposes. So they might want to turn those things off. And if you have turned those off, then yeah, I will definitely impact things like search results and what ads you see, maybe even things like promoted listings and things like that on eBay or Poshmark.
Perfect. Someone said, are there any differences between the ChatGPT app and the desktop version?
I have not tried the app. I'm not even sure if they have an official app. That's the reason I haven't, is because you see a lot of when you're scrolling, you see a lot of ads on Instagram and Facebook that says, hey, ChatGPT is now available as an app. But when you look at it, that app is not owned by ChatGPT or OpenAI. So I'm like, who owns it? Who made that app? Most likely it's someone just integrating an app into ChatGPT, like as a third party. And if I don't know exactly who that is, I'm not going to download that app. So I haven't taken the time to research and figure out the safest one to download to my phone. So I haven't done that yet. But to my knowledge, I don't think they have their own app. So it would definitely be some third party that's providing that.
Anita asked an amazing question. Anita said, can I ask it to review a specific Poshmark listing and rewrite the description to enhance SEO?
Yeah.
You can. Excuse me, Vendoo bosses. I'm actually going to be off the rest of the day because I'm about to upgrade my Poshmark descriptions with ChatGPT. That is amazing. And that was an amazing question.
Yes. And sometimes, I've had people say, I've seen some discussion about this in Facebook groups where people are like, this is creating too long of descriptions. Nobody reads these, whatever. It doesn't matter if the buyer is going to read the whole description. The reason for the description is, one, to have your listing look professional, but also is to have all these extra keywords in there that will help buyers find your listing. So we don't necessarily care if they're reading everything. And that's a good reason to put certain things in, like bullet points, like say the measurements, things that you find important, because our eyes are naturally drawn straight to the bullet points. So you can have a 2-paragraph description that no one's going to read, but you want the condition and the measurements read, put it in bullet points. They're probably going to read those.
We all know they don't read. It could be 3 sentences and they don't read. So if there's a flaw, you need to use a bullet in caps and really use all these words. I mean, we have, I don't remember if it's 1,000 or 1,200 characters on it, for example, Poshmark, but we really should be using as many of those as we can for SEO, not just SEO on the search platform that we're listing on, like Poshmark or eBay, but for Google, where our listings do rank and can attract buyers.
Yeah, I actually was very surprised when we just had it create and said it couldn't go over 1,200 characters, and it gave a very detailed description, and it was only 480 characters. So it's a lot more space than you think. You have a lot of room to write things.
You certainly do. Someone said, oh, this is not on topic. Here we go. Can you upload an image to Google Photos to get a link to then use in ChatGPT?
That's a good question.
While Deanna tests that live, let's see what is next. How do you feel the use of ChatGPT will affect hiring VAs? Well, I mean, that's all circumstantial. If you're using a VA to do listing drafts that ChatGPT could almost accommodate, well, then perhaps you don't need that VA, but often VAs do a lot more. And as Deanna demonstrated, there are flaws with this technology. It is new. It just told us address was polka dot. That was not polka dot. So ChatGPT is nowhere near able to replace the human ability, but it might replace your VA's ability depending what you're using them for. So it is a really, really good tool that might be a great place to start instead of hiring a VA to do something of this sort. Great questions. Really great questions.
So I just tested that. I just put a link from my Google photo account in, and pretty much everything else I did the same. I just used that link instead of like to a Nike website. I used the link to my Google Photos, and it did it. It worked.
That's amazing. So yes, Google Photos, that's a really simple way to get your photo of your item on a hanger to have a link that you can then use this technology with. Someone said, do we know when these AI features will be available on Vendoo? And the answer is no. Our team is working on it. Shout out to our product team. They are incredible. They're really learning about the different things this can do and how to implement it in a way that's very accurate, very effective, very helpful. We do not have a timeline, but stay tuned.
Definitely join that Facebook group, because that's where a lot of times the very first time features are ever mentioned is a lot of times in our Facebook group.
Absolutely. Someone said, just to clarify, when we are teaching ChatGPT about things, for example, Barbiecore, it only remembers in that specific chat thread, correct? So if the thread gets too long, will it forget, or does it remember forever?
So yes and no. So I mean, in a way, it's supposed to like filter out and be part of its knowledge, like hive mind, but when it's talking to you directly, it's organizing things into chats, probably just so it doesn't get so confusing. And also I could pretend to be multiple people. I could do a whole nother chat where it says, now I want to have you write product descriptions and use a lot of dark academia and goth hashtags, right? And it'd be totally different. And I don't really want to mix those two because I don't want it to get confused and start, blending the hashtags for those. So the chats really keep things more specific. So everything you want in that specific category should go on that same chat. To my knowledge, it does not have like a length of time or a certain length of chats before it starts forgetting things. It should remember everything that was said.
Superhuman. This is another amazing question. These are all amazing questions, but I really am interested in this one. Deanna, do you know? Tiffany asked, can ChatGPT watch a video and learn from the video?
I'm going to say yes, because I use another app, the other one I mentioned called Copy AI, and Copy AI is built on OpenAI, as most of them are, and I can tell Copy AI to watch a YouTube video and then provide me a summary of the video.
Wow.
So
we're not positive about ChatGPT.
Yeah, I won't take the time to test it right this second, but I'm pretty sure it can, because Copy AI is basically just using ChatGPT. It even says so right on the app.
Someone asked about updating your listings. So to do so, and that's a great question. Thank you so much, Stacey. To update your listings, of course, you have two choices as a Vendoo user. The first and best choice is to delist, make the changes on the marketplace forms you'd like to, and relist. This is best, one, because it's easiest and fastest, and two, because you're left with a brand new listing. Now, if for some reason you don't want to delete this listing, perhaps it's on Etsy, so you don't want to pay another 20 cents, or it's on eBay and you're only allowed so many listings, the alternative is that you can always edit your live listing. So directly on my Etsy listing, I can edit and make changes. You will likely want to paste that into the Vendoo Etsy form as well, though, so that it is preserved, especially in case you do decide to delist and relist. So that was a great Vendoo question. Thank you so much for asking. Someone asked if you can ask it to do tags. Yes. Hashtags, absolutely. Lots of Vendoo questions. I won't take too many that are off topic, but someone asked if Vendoo delists your items on other marketplaces once they sell. And the answer is yes. On the Vendoo mobile app or the Vendoo website, you can quickly mark your items as sold. And once you do, Vendoo will then delist them from everywhere else where they're available. Vendoo truly is a seller's best friend. All right, so the best practice would be to separate out each aesthetic into a different chat, Deanna. So you had mentioned you didn't, you don't want it to confuse dark academia and biker. Would you create a chat for each different one, or how would you handle that?
Right, or at least ones that are closely related. Like you can put some of them together, right? They make sense. They kind of go together. You could definitely try to just make one that's just teaching it all about the aesthetics. Sometimes people tend to sell more of certain things. Like I tend to sell a lot of witchy looking black dresses because I like them. So I like gravitate towards them in the store, right? So I would probably want it to learn a lot about that, or a lot about 90s fashion if I sell a lot of 90s fashion and those trends. And the reason I would keep the ones that are super polar opposites away from each other is just because it has the tendency to try to be too generic and try to grab, multiple things from everything you've taught it in the past.
Good tip. So someone said, if you want if you have a listing description you want it to redo, is the best way to copy and paste what you already have into ChatGPT and ask it to redo it.
Yep, you can do that. Now you can give it a link to your like Poshmark listing. But like I said, the only downside of that is sometimes it gets too generic and it looks beyond the link you gave it to the Poshmark website and pull stuff, that you weren't expecting it. I've been playing with that a little bit with the blog post, and like if I'm trying to tell it to summarize a blog post and it's giving me too much data that's not in that specific blog post, I'll add things to my prompt like only use information found on this article. And then it will, eliminate that problem. So you can try that, or you can just copy and paste your description right into ChatGPT and ask it to rewrite it for you. You can ask it to make it longer, shorter. You can ask it to write in different styles. You can ask ChatGPT to write things in a youthful style, a formal style, professional. You can say, pretend you are a licensed medical doctor, and how would you prescribe, how would you give this health tip? And it will try to write it, in that style. So that's why I ask it to create a youthful or modern sounding description, because you can actually ask it. You can ask, I've seen people ask it to do things like write the caption of this social media post in a casual and sarcastic manner and use 25% profanity. And it will like literally spit that out for you. So you can be the more specific you ask it, the more specific results you're going to get.
I got a kick out of that because that's about how I run my Instagram, but it's just me. It's not a robot. Someone said, can you use a photo and demo with measurements, etc.? So Deanna did do that earlier in this webinar. So when we share this recording in our Facebook group, you'll be able to watch that and even pause as necessary so you can really check it out. We have got a ton of comments about various Vendoo requests and even some questions. In respect for time and the subject of this webinar, I am kind of glancing right past the ones that don't work right now. So I do want to remind everyone of two things. One is that we have a help center right on Vendoo that will answer just about all of the questions that I saw. We also have a customer support team that works 7 days a week that's available via that help button if you need additional help. I also saw at least 20 requests for listing videos, and I am with you. That's a very highly requested feature that our team gets as well. It is on their radar, and I did put a link in the chat where you can make suggestions. If you didn't know, all of the Vendoo features are highly influenced by user request. There is a literal tally kept as to how many users are requesting things, and those numbers are analyzed by the team. So don't wait for someone else to request it or just post on Facebook. Make that formal request so you can be one of those tallies and you can see the things that you'd love to see come to Vendoo.
Yep. And just because we just said, it's already been requested, still request it, because as Erynn said, it's the number of people that have requested it that decides how important of a priority it is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Our goals are very much aligned here at Vendoo. We're a seller's best friend. We want you to use and love Vendoo for not just your cross posting, but your inventory management, your analytics, your bulk tools, your bookkeeping, and so much more. With that, I want to thank you so much, Deanna, for everything you showed us today. I know we're all going to be playing with our new little robot friends, and I'm so excited to see how everyone uses it.
Yeah, definitely. And if you are in our Facebook group, or if you want to share it on Instagram and share some of your results, a little video or a photo or anything, and tag Vendoo in it, we will love to take a look at what you're doing with it.
We would love to see it. I also want to thank everyone for coming today. Hundreds of people. I see so many familiar faces. We love our Vendoo community. We love hosting things like this to help scale and grow, connect with users, and teach us all how to work smarter. So be sure to connect with us. You can find us on all socials. We have an amazing blog, an amazing YouTube, a Facebook group, that help team. We are always here, and stay tuned for next time where we'll always be exploring new and innovative topics. Shout out to Team Vendoo for helping put this together, the product team for working hard behind the scenes to implement this technology, and for all of you for helping us to make Vendoo a seller's best friend. Thanks so much, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye, reseller friends.
Bye.